Internal Revenue Service IRS tax news. People should check Get My Payment for status of third EIP Economic Impact Payment EIP 3 and watch their mail. COVID tax tip 2021-38, March 29, 2021. The IRS continues to issue the third round of economic impact payments. There's a link to the third round of economic impact payments here to eligible individuals, which is basically everybody with a social security number or valid ID number that doesn't hit the AGI limitation, although we will get into more details shortly about that, with payments being issued as a direct deposit or by mail as a paper check or prepaid EIP debit card. No action is needed by most eligible people to receive a third economic impact payment automatically. So recap, third economic impact payment, economic impact payments 1 and 2, they're calling them EIP 1, EIP 2, and EIP 3. The first two, EIP 1, EIP 2, went out and are basically tied to the 2020 tax return. If there were any problems with those at this point, the remedy, file the 2020 tax return and then adjust it with the recovery rebate credit. In other words, those are prepayments of the recovery rebate credit, which is tied to the 2020 tax return. Any problems with them should then be remedied with the recovery rebate credit by filing the 2020 tax return. The third one is now in the process of going out. It should be a fairly straightforward process given the fact that they have all the information they need at this point in time, having done this 2 times before. So they're just in the process of sending these things out, and there's probably not too much you can do still at this point in time except check the status of it. And you might say, well, what if the status is that it's not good and I haven't got it and I should have got it in this? There's not a whole lot you can do yet at this point in time because they're going to be sending those out basically on autopilot based on the prior circumstances. And then when there's going to be problems, we could look for adjustments. Hopefully they will give us guidance on it from that point. Note that there's one thing that could happen that you might be able to take action on, and that would be that if there was an AGI limitation because they based the filing or the payment that went out on 2019, and therefore, because you hadn't filed 2020, and therefore you got less than you would have if they had based it on 2020, which they couldn't because you didn't file, then possibly what you could do at that point in time is file the 2020 tax return, and once that processes, then they might be able to pick that up and basically give you the difference of the economic impact payment. But other than that, we'll be waiting for guidance, and all we can do is just basically check the status for the most part at this point. So check Get My Payment to see if a third payment is scheduled. People can check to see if their third payment has been scheduled using the Get My Payment tool. There's a link to that here. It's on the IRS.gov website, of course. The tool does not show the amount of the third economic impact payment. The form of payment for the third EIP economic impact payment may be different than earlier stimulus payments. So it might be different than your last payments. If you got a direct deposit last time, they're probably going to try to give you a direct deposit this time because that's what their objective is. If you got it in the mail last time and they think they can still get information to give you a direct deposit, they might even still try to give you a direct deposit because that's the direction that they are going. If you got it in the mail and it was a check or debit card, that does not necessarily mean that you're going to get the same kind of thing in the mail. In other words, you'll probably still get it in the mail then, but it may not be in the same format as of either check or debit card. Those things don't seem to be tied to anything in the past as to which one of those two you get. So more people are receiving direct deposits while those receiving payments in the mail may get a paper check or an EIP card. IRS and the Treasury Department urge eligible people to check Get My Payment and see whether their payment has been scheduled for delivery as a direct deposit or by mail as a check or EIP card. Watch the mail for paper checks and EIP cards. So obviously if it's coming in the mail, then you want to watch the mail and see if it gets there. So the paper checks will arrive by mail in a white envelope from the U.S. Department of the Treasury. For those taxpayers who received their tax refund by mail, this paper check will look similar, but will have economic impact payment in the memo field. So you do want to be careful and make sure that you're getting the proper payments. You can reference it to the IRS if you have any questions as to whether there's some kind of weird scam going on, especially with the debit card. I think people, when you get a debit card, you're like, is this a legitimate debit card? I mean, but you can kind of check it to the IRS just to double check that everything is lining up properly. It's going to be coming in this type of envelope. They'll have images of those envelopes so you can kind of line them up. The EIP card will also come in a white envelope, prominently displayed the seal of the U.S. Treasury of the U.S. Department of the Treasury. The card has the Visa name on the front and the issuing bank, MetaBank NA, on the back. So again, the debit card's probably the one that you might be a little bit more skeptical of. I would be. I get little things that are saying you got a credit card, sign up for the credit card and this and that. And I don't usually, but they're probably not scams anyways. They're just trying to get me to sign up for a credit card. But in any case, I might be a little bit more skeptical about the debit card. But you can kind of check that out here and just see that it should be the MetaBank on the back, and it is a Visa debit card. So you can take a look at that. Some of the other things that they've sent out here actually have images of the card, so you can kind of look at it and see if it all looks legitimate. So information included with the card will explain that this is an economic impact payment. Each mailing will include instructions on how to securely activate and use the card. EIP cards issued for any of the 3 rounds of payments are not reloadable. So in other words, if you got an EIP card for round 1 and round 2, you used it, you threw it away, and now you're thinking, man, they're going to put it on the same card, and I threw it away, and then I'm not going to get my payment. No, they're not going to do that. They're going to send a new card. So if you used up the card, you threw it away, you're okay, because they're going to send it again, either by hopefully direct deposit if they can, if not another card, or by the check. Recipients will receive a separate card and will not be able to reload funds into an existing card. EIP cards are safe, convenient, and secure. These cards provide certain protections against fraud, loss, and other errors. They can be used to make purchases online or in stores anywhere Visa debit cards are accepted. I feel like that's a commercial or something, but they're safe and secure, according to the IRS, probably true. So we have card holders can use the cards to do any of the following without paying a fee. Transfer funds to the personal account, so that's good. You can take the money out and put it in your personal account. Make signature or PIN debit purchases anywhere Visa cards are accepted in stores, online, or by phone. Get cash back with a PIN debit purchase where available. Get cash from an in-network ATMs. Get a replacement EIP card if needed. And check card balance online through a mobile app or by phone. So you can do the mobile app thing even with it. Incredible. I won't do it. Maybe I'll do it at some point, but anyway. The EIP card is sponsored by the Bureau of the Fiscal Service and issued by the Treasury Financial Agent, Meta NA. The IRS does not determine who receives a prepaid debit card. For more information about these cards, people can visit EIP.com. The latest details about the 3rd round of economic impact payments are available on IRS.gov. I'm just going to link over to the EIP.com here and just check out what they got. So they do have an image of the card on the EIP.com. So once again, if you're not totally comfortable with the debit card and you get a debit card, you can go to this link. There'll be a link to this on the description, and there'll be a link to this EIP debit card, and you can kind of verify for yourself and make yourself feel secure that it's a legitimate card if that's the form of payment that you get for EIP 3.